Good evening everyone. I'm the storyteller and I'm here to help you today. I know you use this video to fall asleep, so before that, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, where are you from and what time are you watching now? Get comfortable and relax. The Last Passenger by Black Hollow Stories. The 11:59. The train arrived at 11:59 p.m., though no one in the town of Black Hollow could recall a schedule that included such an arrival. The station was empty, save for the flickering fluorescent light that buzzed like a dying insect. The air smelled of rust and damp earth, and the tracks gleamed faintly under the pale glow of a crescent moon. The train itself was an anomaly, a relic from another era, its blackened steel carriages etched with symbols that seemed to shift when stared at too long. The windows were dark, reflecting nothing but the empty platform. The engine hissed, a sound like a breath held too long, and the doors slid open with a groan. No one stepped out. From the shadows of the station, a young woman emerged. Her name was Clara Hayes, and she carried a suitcase heavy with regret. She had come to Black Hollow to escape her past, but the past had a way of finding her. The train was her last hope, though she couldn't say why. As she stepped aboard, the doors closed behind her with a finality that made her heart stutter. The interior was dimly lit, the air thick with the scent of old leather and something faintly metallic. The seats were occupied by figures cloaked in shadow, their faces indistinct, their presence unnervingly still. The train lurched forward, and Clara stumbled into a seat. Outside, the town blurred into darkness. The conductor's voice crackled over the intercom, low and gravelly, as if speaking through a mouthful of ash. Welcome aboard the 11:59. Next stop, the end of the line. Clara's breath caught. The end of the line. Black Hollow was the end of the line. There was nothing beyond it but wilderness and forgotten roads. As the train picked up speed, the lights flickered. For a moment, Clara thought she saw the passengers' faces, hollow eyes, gaping mouths, skin stretched too tight over bone. Then the light steadied, and the figures were shadows once more. Her hands trembled as she gripped the armrests. The train was moving faster now, the world outside a smear of black and gray. The air grew colder, and the metallic scent sharpened, coppery and familiar. Blood. Clara's stomach churned. She wanted to scream, to demand answers, but her voice was trapped in her throat. The train plunged into a tunnel, and the darkness swallowed everything. When the lights returned, the passengers were gone. Clara was alone. The first stop, the train slowed, and the doors opened with a hiss. Clara stepped onto the platform, her legs unsteady. The station was identical to the one in Black Hollow, but the air was wrong, too still, too quiet. The fluorescent light buzzed louder, and the shadows seemed to pulse like a living thing. A sign hung above the platform, its letters faded, * welcome to Black Hollow. * Clara's breath hitched. This wasn't her town. The buildings were the same, but their angles were off, their windows too narrow, their doors too tall. The streets were empty, the silence broken only by the distant sound of a child's laughter, high-pitched and wrong. She turned back to the train, but it was gone. The tracks stretched into the horizon, rusted and broken. A voice echoed from the shadows. You shouldn't have come here. Clara spun around. A figure stood at the edge of the platform, its face obscured by a hood. Its voice was familiar, though she couldn't place it. Where am I? She demanded, her voice trembling. The figure stepped closer. You're where you've always been. You just didn't see it before. The hood fell back, and Clara's heart stopped. It was her. The other Clara smiled, but it was a cruel, twisted thing. Welcome home. The mirror. Clara stumbled back, her mind reeling. The other her advanced, each step deliberate, each movement a grotesque parody of her own. You've been running for so long, the double said. its voice dripping with mock sympathy. But you can't run from yourself. Clara's back hit the station wall. What are you? The double tilted its head, its eyes black and depthless. I'm what you left behind, the part of you that didn't want to die. Memories surged. Her mother's empty pill bottle, the cold steel of a razor, the weight of the news she'd tied but never used. Clara's knees buckled. No, she whispered. I didn't want this. The double's smile widened. Then why are you here? The station lights flickered, and the double vanished. Clara was alone again, the silence pressing in on her like a suffocating weight. In the distance, the child's laughter echoed again, closer now. The town Clara wandered the streets of the twisted black hollow, each step heavier than the last. The houses loomed like tombstones, their windows dark and lifeless. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the ground beneath her feet felt spongy, as if the earth itself was rotting. She passed a playground, its swings creaking in the wind. The laughter was louder here, but there was no one in sight. A voice called out, faint and desperate, "Help me!" Clara froze. The voice was coming from a nearby house, its door slightly ajar. She approached cautiously, her heart pounding. Inside, the walls were covered in photographs, hundreds of them, all of her. Some were from her childhood, others from moments she couldn't remember. In the center of the room stood a mirror, its surface rippling like water. The voice came again, softer this time. "Please." Clara stepped closer to the mirror. Her reflection stared back, but its eyes were wide with fear. "Let me out," it begged. Clara reached out, her fingers brushing the glass. It was cold, impossibly so. The reflection's hand shot out, gripping hers with a strength that shouldn't have been possible. "You don't belong here," it hissed. Clara screamed as the mirror pulled her in. Asterisk to be continued. Asterisk engage with the story. Asterisk what would you do if you found yourself on a train with no destination? Would you confront your darkest fears, or would you run? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Stay tuned for the next chapter, where Clara discovers the true purpose of the 1159, and the price of escaping it.